Good morning. This is Joyce, the voice of Joyce, back for another week, another discussion. And this time, let's think about where do we want to really be in the next couple of years. I know where I want to be in the next couple of months. I'd sure like to be out of quarantine. But that's not in the cards for me unless there's a vaccine. What makes me really furious is that our government knew in November. I kept thinking it was the revelations in the New York Times that showed that Trump was absolutely in the loop on January 28th, knew about the coronavirus and did nothing. But the story is far worse. I read in the Times of Israel this morning that Trump was briefed in November by our intelligence community, and he was told that there would be a major pandemic. They thought it would be a coronavirus. They were so concerned about delivering this data that they shared it with the Israelis and they shared it with NATO. Germany was quick to act. They had the protective gear on hand. They knew that they had to get ahead of the curve. Trump went right past him, right by him, totally unconcerned about the number of lives that would be lost or suffer, or not even to think once, what will be the consequences of my inaction? Clearly, he wasn't thinking about the economy then, nor was he thinking about sacrificing 2 to 3% of American lives. No, for him, it was business as usual, creating chaos wherever he went, being on top of every single political strategy and scandal that he could muster. But did he give a thought to the American economy? No, he didn't. If he had, he could have invested a few $1 billion then for testing, for the protective equipment that our frontline responders really need. And by frontline, that's not just the hospitals and hospital personnels. It's people in transportation. It's the police, the fire department, the teachers, and the people who are responsible for making and distributing our food. All went past Trump, didn't care, didn't see the threat, didn't matter. It was China, after all, that was going to have it. Why worry about us? Well, 2015, Bill Gates said, worry about America. We're going to have a pandemic. Mark my words, there'll be a pandemic. Gear up now. 15 years earlier, Bill Frist, who was then the Senate Majority Leader, said, we're going to have a pandemic. Gear up now. Be prepared. Nobody was listening. Nobody listened to Frist, even though his specialty is lung disease. Nobody listened to Bill Gates in 2015 either, even though his specialty is developing vaccines. Nobody listened to the Bush administration, who handed off their protocols for pandemics. Nor did they listen to Barack Obama when they briefed the Trump administration on the latest protocols in combating pandemics. It's true, a lot of the stocks were depleted, but we're talking 2016, and we're now in 2020. We had ample time to respond in a wartime condition to the needs for hospital beds, protective equipment, ventilators, gowns, masks, gloves, whatever was required to save our population. Nobody listened. And so here we are in April of 2020, and Trump wants to open the economy. And so what do we see across our nation? We see members of the alt-right, sponsored by some GOP who are opposing Democratic candidates, saying they want the freedom to congregate. Well, it's not just them that we need to be protected from. We need protection all the way around. Even though I don't agree with them, I don't want them to die, nor do I want them to infect others. The Smithfield plant is just now closing in South Dakota. They're a hot spot for COVID-19 because they never listened to their workers. They had early warning. They could have done what's right in the beginning. Testing, monitoring social contacts and social distancing. All of that works. Now, we're on COVID time. We can't afford to go back to work too early, or we'll find what Japan is finding and other countries in Asia. Because our tests are not as accurate as we would like, and because people can now travel freely in those countries, they're getting a second wave. Well, I don't think this country wants to get a second or a third wave. For many of us who are elderly, it might be the last wave. But in spite of everything, in spite of the fact that Trump has gone too far this time, with everything that he's done to destroy the integrity and the institutions of our country, they still stand. And people, entrepreneurs, are indeed developing new serological testing, and a vaccine may not be that far off in the future. No thanks to him. He hasn't done anything. The fact that he's now left everything in the hands of the states, that's not gratuitous. It's written in the Constitution. States' rights supersede the government in matters of emergency. So, bully for you, Mr. Trump. But you missed this one too. It's always about the economy. And if we want an economy and we want productivity, well, then we have to care about our people, all our people, 330 million of them. They need support. The quantitative easing that I had proposed years ago of $1.7 trillion being divided by 154 million people, giving them $12,000 each, doesn't seem outrageous now, because so far I don't know who's getting that $1,200 check. I haven't seen it in my account, and I've heard many others haven't either. There is hope on the horizon, and I'd like to see it flourish. And I'd also like to see anyone who wants to be the next president of our country. I'd like to see what your plans are now for the new normal, because surely major concerts, major sporting events, major travel is not in our immediate future. FDR-like plans are. A clean slate for labor is an absolute. Without healthy, educated people, we're not a country that can make good, informed decisions. Without a connected country, we can't make those decisions either. And this is not the time to retreat from the world. It's a time to embrace it, because we are part of the greater planet, and what we do here affects others elsewhere, and vice versa. This is a time for cooperation and collaboration and short and long-term planning. This is not your wheelhouse, Mr. Trump, and I don't see how you can even hold your head up high with all those who have enabled you to bring America temporarily to our knees. But I have faith. I know the American can-do spirit. Somehow or other, in spite of you, we'll get out of this. But I certainly don't want to see you around for the next 4 years. So take care, everyone. I am leaving on an upbeat note. I know opportunity does knock, and we will answer its call. No thanks to this administration, but we're answering. And now people will come before profits. Have a blessed day, everyone, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye now, and take care, and if you wish, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is The Voice of Joyce. Also, I understand I may be able to get back to Periscope, not sure. That too will be The Voice of Joyce. So have a blessed day again, and be well.